and that metamathematics takes a name. And that is the metamathematics, or a Platonic world of ideas. A Platonic world of ideas, sometimes called Platonic forms, because mathematics itself owes its existence to these Platonic forms. Now, this view, as you probably know, comes from someone who worked very close with Stephen Hawking, who is the author of this one, and he has developed some very interesting insights into the study of mathematics and the universe and the geometry of the universe, and his name is Roger Penrose. And obviously, this is different from this, but yet it doesn't block these two men working together. And as this author, Stephen Hawking, did a great book called The History of Time, so this one did another great book called The Shadows of the Mind. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are worldviews, of course. And there is another one, and that, I'm going to present it, that the universe itself, the whole functioning of the universe, is much like the way in which the heart beats. That is to say, it's a pulsating. It pulsates. It's on and off. It's on and off. Dit, 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 dit. In that sense, it's very much like the structure of mathematical language, on and off, on and off, on and off. Therefore, it's on, and there's the universe exists for an instant. Then it's off, and then it's on, and then it's off and on and off and on. And this is captured ideally, the model for this is the film strip. If you wanted to study motion, and someone had a camera that could take so many frames per second, and you said, I want to study motion, so I'm looking at each one of these to see if I can study motion. And of course, what you discover, each frame is static. And therefore, even if you speed up the film 1,000 or 1,000,000 times a second, you still wouldn't be able to see any motion in any frame. Conclusion, it's between the frames that the action takes place. That's the same thing as this view, you see. It's saying that the entire universe is on and off, on and off, on and off. In the instant, the instantaneous moment is really just a flash, and then it's off, then another flash. There's no continuity. There's no continuity. They're just a series of flashes. That's all it is. Now, within this on and off universe, which, by the way, this view has its origin, though it's, this is the one we're going to talk about with Alan Watts. This really has its origin philosophically in Plato's Parmenides, the third hypothesis. The third hypothesis of Plato's Parmenides. Now, on and off. Opposites, 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 opposites. The very nature of opposites is integral, therefore, to this view of the nature of the universe. And there's a whole series of opposites. And that is, in this on and off, we stand here, we stand trying to grasp what it is we are in, our universe. And therein lies our difficulty, because everything in the universe, in our experience, is clearly other than ourselves. Clearly other That's not me. I am not hurt by that. I am over here. It is over here, and so is everything. Therefore, we're always caught in this other pair of opposites called self and other. Again, opposites. The self is represented often by the I in this immensity of the universe, seeks in some way to reach some kind of meaning, but it's always insignificant in comparison with the vastness of the otherness of the physical in the entire universe. Therefore, it's necessarily a sense of foreignness, foreign, alienated. Because whatever I identify as being the I seems to be totally different than anything I experience, because I experience everything as other than I. And furthermore, the I only seems to exist for a certain period of time, and therefore, with our death, there appears to be therefore a return to non-being, and therefore our existence only has being. Being in the sense of a vitality and a life, that's what it has. Being, life, vitality, identity, that's all in the I. But in this, other than me, no I. Likely not much vitality, and even if I'm pointing to an elephant having more vitality perhaps than I, it's still totally different than me. I can't identify with it. There's nothing I can identify in the universe except other I's that seem just as foreign, as alienated from me as I am from them. This is the universe that Alan Watts presents, within which he is then going to explore this question of the taboo against knowing the self. This is the way he starts. He contrasts it here with this theological universe. And he says, if you want to therefore talk about the origin of this kind of pulsating universe, it doesn't work. Here are the time-honored terms: God, Father, Creator, etc., all the traditional values. He said, you can't take these terms, these metaphors, and move them in here any more than he warns us. Can you take it and introduce them into this world of the Advaita? Metaphors are not exchangeable. Each worldview has its own inherent models, metaphors, and they're not transferable. Now, Alan is very interested in science. Therefore, he, for the most part, until late in his life, by the way, accepted this model, Hawking's model. Much later, he got interested in this possibility of an independent, this view essentially is saying there may be an independent intelligence in the universe, and that was a great advance over his earlier thinking. And we had fun one night in his houseboat, and we were talking about it, and he said, Pierre, he said, do you know there's some evidence to suggest that there really is a place out there in the heavens and the universe that in fact is the origin of intelligence? So we're playing this way one night. And I said, well, I don't know about that, Alan. I said, but I do think I have an idea that whoever is going to discover it, I think I know his middle name. He said, what's that?